David checked his watch for the 10th time in as many minutes. Gate B12. His heart pounded. He clutched the bouquet of sunflowers tighter. 5 years. 5 long years since he'd last seen his sister, Sarah. She thought he was still working in Singapore. He'd secretly booked a flight home a week ago, wanting to surprise her. He knew she'd be tired after the long flight from London, but he hoped the surprise would give her a boost. The arrival board flashed. Flight BA249 arriving. David took a deep breath. Here we go. Passengers began to emerge from the gate. Businessmen in suits, families with young children, backpackers with huge packs. David scanned each face, his eyes searching for Sarah. He remembered her face vividly, even after all this time. Her bright smile, her warm eyes, the way she always tucked a strand of hair behind her ear. Then he saw her. She looked a little tired, but just as beautiful as he remembered. She was pulling a small suitcase behind her, scanning the crowd. He stepped forward, flowers in hand. She still hadn't seen him. "Sarah!" he called out, his voice a little shaky. She stopped, her eyes widening as she turned towards the sound of his voice. Her mouth dropped open. "David?" she whispered, her voice full of disbelief. "What are you doing here?" he grinned, walking towards her. "Surprise!" He handed her the sunflowers. Her eyes filled with tears as she took the flowers and threw her arms around him. He hugged her tightly, burying his face in her hair. It smelled just like he remembered, lavender and sunshine. "I can't believe you're here," she said, pulling back to look at him. "I thought you were still in Singapore." "I came back a week ago." "I wanted to surprise you," he said, his smile wide. They stood there for a moment, just looking at each other, 1,000 unspoken words passing between them. "Let's go grab some coffee," David said, picking up her suitcase. "We have a lot to catch up on." They found a small cafe near the gate and settled into a corner table. "So tell me everything," David said, leaning forward. Sarah told him about her job at the publishing house, about her boyfriend Tom, and about the small apartment she'd finally bought in London. David listened intently, asking questions and sharing stories of his own. He told her about his work in Singapore, about the challenges and the loneliness, and about his decision to finally come home. He admitted he missed her terribly. Time flew by. Before they knew it, an announcement blared over the loudspeaker. Flight LH342 to Munich, now boarding at gate B15. Sarah sighed. "That's me," she said, looking at her watch. "I have a connecting flight." Their faces fell. They hugged each other again. "It was so good to see you, David," she said, her voice thick with emotion. "It's been too long." "I know," he said, holding her hand tightly. "Let's not let it be this long again." As Sarah walked towards her gate, David watched her go, a mix of happiness and sadness washing over him. He was so glad he'd surprised her, but he also knew that 5 years was a long time, and a lot had changed. Could they really go back to the way things were before? Was the distance going to remain an insurmountable obstacle between them? And what were the unspoken things that hadn't come out in their conversation? He couldn't quite put his finger on it, but he could sense it was present. Perhaps this could be a story for another time. If you enjoyed this video and want to see more stories like this, be sure to like, share, and subscribe.